Hi, I'm Mei Ling, and I'm 29 years old. Growing up Asian American has its challenges, especially being Chinese American like me. I've faced some unfair treatment because of my background. I've learned to stand up for myself and not let discrimination bring me down. Life has taught me to be tough, so I can handle whatever comes my way. But sometimes people can still surprise me with their ignorance. Take my father-in-law, for example. He doesn't seem to understand how tough it can be to be different in America. Let me tell you about my family. My husband, Mateo, is from the Dominican Republic, and I'm Chinese American. We love exploring each other's cultures and traditions. Recently, Mateo's stepdad, Hiroshi, joined our family. He's also from East Asia like me, which I thought was cool. I was excited to have someone who understood my background. But things changed when Hiroshi came into our lives. Mateo and his mom, Sofia, started speaking more Spanish, especially when Hiroshi was around. At first, I didn't think much of it since Spanish is their first language. Plus, they weren't saying anything bad. I know because I speak Spanish too. You know, I want to surprise my husband by learning Spanish. He really appreciates it when people do things for him, so I thought learning his language would make us closer. I kept it a secret for longer than I planned because I was afraid to tell them I could understand what they were saying. Even though I was getting better at Spanish, I was still scared of making mistakes and embarrassing myself. Maybe my fear was a good thing because when Hiroshi came into the picture, Sofia and Mateo started speaking Spanish more often. I thought it was best not to speak Spanish during those times. I mean, imagine joining a family with different cultures and feeling left out by everyone. Out of respect for Hiroshi and because we both shared East Asian backgrounds, I kept talking to him in English. I found it a bit strange that they were speaking Spanish more, but I didn't think much of it. That is, until I started hearing insults in Spanish that really surprised me. I remember that day vividly, like it just happened. We were all gathered around the table, ready to enjoy a meal together. The food smelled amazing, and we were chatting happily. But then disaster struck. I accidentally spilled gravy everywhere when I reached for the gravy boat. It was like a river of regret flowing across the table. You can imagine the chaos that followed. Sofia, my mother-in-law, started swearing in Spanish. Even though I'm not fluent in Spanish, I could tell she was saying mean things about me. It hurt, but Mateo, my husband, stood up for me. He told his mom that her insults weren't okay. Then Sofia said something that broke my heart. She asked Mateo why he was defending me when she thought I couldn't understand what she was saying anyway. Those words hit me hard. It hurt even more than her insults earlier. I felt so embarrassed and shocked that she would say something like that. It felt like she was used to talking about me behind my back in her language. I choked on my water, feeling overwhelmed. But Hiroshi, my father-in-law, comforted me. He reminded me that everyone makes mistakes and accidents happen. He even said there was more gravy in the pot, trying to lighten the mood. Hiroshi didn't know that it wasn't the spilled gravy that left me breathless. It was Sophia's hurtful words questioning my worth. I couldn't shake off the doubt that crept into my mind. Did I hear her correctly? Was I losing touch with reality? I couldn't believe that my own mother-in-law, who should have been supportive, would speak about me like that. After dinner, haunted by Sophia's words, I needed confirmation. I asked a Spanish-speaking friend and even used Google Translate. Unfortunately, my fears were true. Sophia had intentionally been rude and disrespectful. I couldn't understand why she felt that way about me. I kept my discoveries to myself for now, deciding to watch our family dynamics and wait for the right time to address this. The next morning, as we sat at the breakfast table, there was an awkward silence. I sat quietly, thinking hard, while the others chatted as usual. Sofia and Mateo started speaking in Spanish, unaware of the impact their words had. Suddenly, Sofia said something shocking. "I regret marrying this old, stupid man," Sofia said, unaware that I understood her words. My heart sank as I heard her. Once again, Sofia had revealed her true feelings, ruining our mealtime harmony. Meanwhile, Hiroshi chuckled and said, "I should learn Spanish so I can understand what you two are always talking about." If only he knew the painful truth behind their laughter. Sofia and Mateo pretended it was all harmless teasing, hiding the hurtful gossip they were sharing right in front of him. But the gossip didn't stop there. Mateo and Sofia continued, each comment more hurtful than the last. Let me give you some examples. They mocked Hiroshi's accent, mimicking his attempts to pronounce certain words. They laughed at his cultural traditions, saying they were strange or unnecessary. And they made jokes about his age, saying he was past his prime. As I sat there, I felt more and more uncomfortable. It was like watching a cruel game where Hiroshi was the target of their teasing without even knowing it. My heart hurt for him, knowing he was being hurt by his own family. This wasn't the love and acceptance I hoped for when our cultures came together. In that moment, I promised myself I wouldn't stay silent anymore. Sophia might have said hurtful things about me, but I wouldn't let her treat this kind old man the same way. I knew I had to address the tension in our family to make them see the value of our diverse backgrounds and the importance of treating each other with kindness. As time passed, I became more determined to expose Matteo and Sophia's unkind treatment of Hiroshi. Armed with my phone, I started recording their hurtful conversations during meals. I wanted to show them their behavior and its impact. With each meal, I discreetly captured their words, knowing they would reveal the truth. As their insults grew harsher, Hiroshi started to notice something was wrong. He and I were constantly left out, and it was clear something needed to change. As Hiroshi felt more excluded, his lively spirit dimmed. I tried to guide our conversations in English to include everyone, but Matteo and Sophia always switched back to Spanish, shutting us out. Their gossip and insults towards Hiroshi ruined the atmosphere at meals. When I listened to the recordings, I realized something heartbreaking. Sophia had married Hiroshi for his money, regretting that she couldn't inherit his fortune until he passed away. I was shocked by her greed, and Matteo, my husband, not only joined in the insults but found them funny, supporting his mother's awful intentions. The realization hit me hard. How could I have missed their true colors? These were the people I trusted to embrace and celebrate our diverse family, yet they have betrayed that trust. I knew I had to do something, not just for Hiroshi's sake, but for the respect and love our family deserved. Late into the night, I listened to those recordings, steeling myself to confront Matteo and Sophia with the evidence of their cruelty. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I couldn't let them continue hurting us. As I planned my approach, I promised myself I wouldn't let their toxicity ruin our lives any longer. Hiroshi deserved better, and so did our family. Determined to make a change, I geared up to confront Matteo and Sophia about their hurtful actions. But before I faced them, I knew one thing. Hiroshi needed to hear the truth first. He deserved to know. Gathering my courage, I approached Hiroshi, sensing his heavy heart. With a comforting smile, I asked, "Hey Hiroshi, how are you holding up?" He sighed and met my gaze, his vulnerability clear. "Mei Ling, it's been tough, honestly. I'm having a hard time fitting into this new family setup. The constant use of Spanish makes me feel left out, like I don't belong. Maybe I should consider those Spanish classes after all." Understanding his struggle, I nodded sympathetically. "I hear you, Hiroshi. It's been bothering me too. But there's something important I need to tell you." He looked intrigued, curious about what I had to say. "What's on your mind, Mei Ling?" Taking a deep breath, I confessed the secret I'd been keeping. "Hiroshi, I understand Spanish. I've been following every conversation Matteo and Sofia have had. They didn't know because I never joined in on the Spanish talks. I kept it to myself because I felt nervous and embarrassed about my language skills, but I do understand them completely." Hiroshi looked surprised. "Why didn't he tell them? I'm sure they would have helped you with your Spanish." I smiled sadly. "You're probably right, Hiroshi. I was just nervous and embarrassed. I wanted to surprise Matteo once I learned enough Spanish to have a real conversation, but I kept delaying it, worried he wouldn't be impressed. Still, maybe it's a good thing I didn't tell them." "Why do you say that?" "By keeping this secret, I was able to hear their conversations, and what I heard wasn't good. They've been talking about you behind your back, saying hurtful things. The language barrier protected them, but now they'll have to face the consequences." Hiroshi looked confused and concerned. "What do you mean? What have they been saying about me?" I took his hands in mine, speaking firmly. "Hiroshi, they've been making fun of you, mocking you, and saying mean things about you. It's been happening for weeks, and it's terrible that they can talk about you like that." His eyes showed a mix of surprise, hurt, and gratitude. I don't know what to say. "Thank you for telling me the truth. I never thought they would do something like this." "What exactly have they been saying?" he asked, bracing himself for the harsh reality. "Hiroshi, I know this is hard to hear, but I have to be honest with you. Sophia married you for your money, and both she and Matteo are waiting for you to pass away so they can inherit your fortune." As my words sank in, Hiroshi's disbelief turned into shock and confusion. "No, Mei Ling, that can't be true. Sophia loves me and Mateo loves me too. They wouldn't do that. Are you sure you're being honest with me? Maybe it's you who's trying to deceive me. With determination, I assured him, Hiroshi, I wouldn't bring this up without evidence. I recorded their conversations, and you can hear it for yourself. Ask any Spanish-speaking person you know to confirm what they're saying. I then airdropped the recordings to Hiroshi's phone, letting him uncover the truth for himself. Days passed, and the tension between Hiroshi, Sophia, and Mateo grew thicker. I gave Hiroshi space to process everything. Then, one day, he pulled me aside, his face showing a mix of acceptance and gratitude. I owe you an apology. I doubted you, blinded by my love for Sophia. But after talking to my Spanish-speaking friends and listening to those recordings, I believe you. I can't believe they said such awful things about me. What did I do to deserve this? I know, Hiroshi, it's a lot to take in, and I'm sorry, but I felt you needed to know the truth. I've decided to get an annulment. I'm old, May. I can't waste time with people who don't care about me. It's just hard to believe you'll be leaving so soon. Leaving sounds like the right move. I think you should do it. This will be my last night here. Tomorrow, I'll go and won't contact Sophia and Mateo until I'm ready to start the annulment process. But for now, I think I need a break. You deserve real love and peace, Hiroshi, and so do I. With that, Hiroshi and I hugged, and then we both went our separate ways. The next day, just as he said, Hiroshi was gone. He packed his things and left, leaving Sophia and Mateo confused and free to keep talking badly about him. As I put away the dishes, I could hear Sophia and Mateo in the nearby living room. Their insults towards Hiroshi made me furious. Why were they being so cruel? Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. With a surge of confidence, I decided to confront them about their hurtful behavior. Enough was enough. I know exactly what you've been saying about Hiroshi in your secret Spanish conversations, I said firmly. Sophia's face went pale, and she looked shocked. Mateo tried to act innocent. You don't know what you're talking about, he insisted. At that moment, I unleashed a side of me they had never seen before. Speaking fluent Spanish, I confronted them directly. Don't underestimate me. I've understood everything you two have been saying for the past 3 weeks. You've been insulting and disrespecting Hiroshi since he entered our lives. Mateo looked embarrassed, avoiding eye contact. They were caught in their lies. Finally, Mateo spoke up, his voice filled with curiosity, regret, and perhaps even hurt. Why didn't you tell me you could speak Spanish? You're really good. I gave a bitter smile. I was embarrassed by my imperfect Spanish, but now I see that it helped me uncover the truth about your true intentions towards Hiroshi. Their eyes widened in shock, struggling to comprehend the gravity of the situation. Sophia's voice shook as she asked, What do you mean, Mei-ling? I took a deep breath, revealing the truth bit by bit. I've told Hiroshi everything. He's on vacation now, away from this toxic environment. And because of what he's learned, he's going to pursue an annulment. So you won't get the money. Confusion and panic filled the room as Sophia and Mateo realized the consequences of their actions. The realization that their pursuit of Hiroshi's wealth had been fruitless left them stunned. You see, Sophia and Mateo, greed and manipulation may have clouded your judgment temporarily. But in the end, the truth won out. Hiroshi's fortune will never be yours. Your betrayal shattered his love and trust. As the reality of their actions sank in, Sophia and Mateo faced the consequences of their greed and deceit. The facade they had built around Hiroshi crumbled, and their dreams of an easy fortune vanished. In that moment, I stood firm, knowing I had spoken up for what was right, even if it strained our family's fragile harmony. Unfortunately, the damage had been done, and tension lingered between Mateo, Sophia, and me. Realizing the toxicity of the situation, I knew I couldn't stay any longer. If they could treat Hiroshi like that, who knows what they said about me? Their true colors had been exposed, and I couldn't ignore the toxicity in our relationship. Quietly, I started planning my exit. I reached out to Hiroshi for guidance and support. He, being the kind soul he was, encouraged me and even offered financial help to start anew. He knew I deserved better than the toxic environment we were in. I waited for the right moment to tell them I was leaving. The tension in the house was thick, with Mateo and Sophia carrying the weight of their failed scheme. They were angry and resentful, hiding any remorse they might have felt. With my preparations complete, I gathered the courage to make the clean break. The perfect moment came, and with my bags packed and determination in my heart, I faced Mateo and Sophia. I calmly told them that their actions had destroyed the trust and love between us. Staying in such a toxic environment would only hurt us more. Their faces twisted with anger and regret as they realized the consequences of their behavior. In that moment, I made my decision to leave. Standing tall, I asserted my worth and declared my independence. Their attempts to persuade me otherwise were futile. I had made up my mind, and nothing could change it. With a final farewell, I walked away from the toxicity that had plagued our lives, stepping into a new chapter. As I journeyed towards self-discovery and freedom, I carried the lessons learned with me. No longer would I be confined by others' expectations and judgments. I had found my voice and would use it to shape my destiny, leaving behind the negativity that once consumed me. It was time to embrace my strength and forge a path true to myself.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing when my boss said I couldn't take any time off with pay. It was shocking. I always stand up for myself, but this time it was too much. She basically told me not to bother coming back. Hearing that, I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. I asked if she was really sure about her decision, which surprised her. Her eyes got wide with surprise. It was disappointing. My name is Nancy, and I just turned 28. I've been working at Kando Corporation for 10 years, which makes me experienced even though I'm still young. My family isn't rich, but my parents took good care of me. I'm an only child, so I didn't get a lot of new things. Most of my clothes were hand-me-downs from cousins or neighbors. Getting new clothes was rare, but I was happy with what I had. I have lots of love from my neighbors and relatives. I have great memories of going on picnics with my parents on weekends. Even though I didn't have much growing up, I'm still close with my cousins, and we talk often. I had a lot of love around me as I grew up. In 12th grade, I was the student council president and had good grades. My teacher thought I should go to college, but I didn't want to. I wanted to work for the government. My parents wanted me to choose a different job, but I went ahead and became a government worker despite their advice. I wanted to help my parents with money as soon as I could. But then my dad got very sick and passed away before I could do much for him. So I started taking care of my mom instead. We lived together and kept busy with everyday life. Time went by quickly, and I learned a lot while working. After 5 years, I became well respected at my job and lived comfortably. I was in charge of training new people and sometimes did important tasks for my boss. Plus, I got good bonuses, which let me give my parents $600 every month. In my free time, I enjoyed going on trips with friends, coworkers, and my boyfriend. Then, our boss changed, and the new boss was a woman who happened to be the president's daughter. People said she didn't work hard because she relied on her dad's money. The president wanted her to learn some important lessons about life, so he gave her a big job. Only the president and I knew about his plan. Many people in the company didn't think she deserved the job because they thought she only got it because of her dad. The work atmosphere was getting more and more tense, and it was starting to feel suffocating. And then trouble found its way to me. It happened when I made a cup of hot coffee for the new boss. "What's this?" "Are you trying to make me mad?" "I made it just like you asked." She gave me an angry look and threw the hot coffee towards me. "Ow, why did you do that?" I couldn't dodge it, so I held my right arm, which got hit by the coffee, and stared back at her. "How is this what I asked for?" I said I wanted it warm with extra milk and sugar. I made it warm with 2 cups of milk and 2 scoops of sugar. It's too hot. Normally, it's 4 cups of milk and 3 scoops of sugar. She acted like her way was the only right way and forced her preferences on others. "I'm sorry. I'll make you another one right away. This is why I don't like people who only finished high school. My dad told me you're good at your job and everyone trusts you. I have a lot to learn. I only seem good because everyone here supports me." While she kept making snide comments, the pain in my burned arm got worse. I just wanted to leave and cool down my arm. I was excited to meet you after hearing my dad praise you. But what a letdown. I wonder how you impressed him. When she said those mean words, a coworker tried to help, but I signaled that I was okay, not wanting to draw her attention. Later, that coworker became her new target. Anyone she targeted before ended up feeling so stressed that they quit their jobs. Now it seems like she's targeting me. While I was thinking about what to do, she grabbed my burned arm and squeezed it tightly. "You're brave to ignore me, but don't think you'll get away with it." I winced in pain. After seeing my reaction, she let go of my arm and told me to make coffee again. I made an excuse and rushed to the kitchen to cool down my arm. It was awful. After work, I went to see a skin doctor and got some medicine, but my arm didn't fully heal and left a mark. So I dressed in a way that hid it, so others wouldn't worry. Since that day, she started bothering me even more. "What's wrong with this paper? It's full of mistakes. Take your job seriously." "What mistakes are there?" I asked, trying to figure out her mood. She threw the paper at me. "There can't be any mistakes." I checked it. "And it's annoying to be criticized with a red pen." I sighed at her childish behavior. "Honestly, this paper needs to be fixed because it's not good enough. You came here without knowing much. Please admit the mistakes and learn." I tried teaching her like I did with other new workers, but her pride got in the way. "Don't argue. Just do your job. I'm the boss, so I don't have to do this. And this is what the president wants. You're trying too hard to impress my dad, right? You came from a family without a dad, didn't you?" I was surprised she brought up my family. "Plus, we never talked about this before. You only have your mom now, right? Your dad worked hard in a poor family, got sick, and wasn't rewarded. Let's not talk about personal stuff at work. I just wanted to chat a bit. You're so boring." I couldn't hide my annoyance when she made fun of my parents. "You're getting mad, huh? That's funny. My parents are amazing. You, who know nothing, can't say anything." She quickly replied when she heard my voice change. "So, that's how you really are, huh? Is it okay to treat the president's daughter like this? Maybe I'll tell my dad how you've been treating me badly. Do as you please. Fix the test paper and hand it in today. I'm going to make sure you leave this place." As I walked away from her, she whispered something to me, but I ignored her and went back to my desk. After that, she kept being sarcastic, but I managed to teach her some basic stuff, although it was a long process. It included simple things like using the computer and different types of documents. During my break, I sat on the rooftop bench, sipping coffee to relax my tired body and thinking about my future. Suddenly, my phone rang with an unknown number. "Hello, is this Nancy? This is Savvy Hospital. Your mom was brought in urgently, and she's in critical condition. Can you come right away?" My mind went blank, and I couldn't remember much after that. I left a note on her desk saying I was leaving early and rushed to the hospital in a taxi. At the hospital, I explained the situation, and a nurse took me to see my mom. "Mom, this can't be happening." There she was, looking peaceful as she slept. The doctor said she had collapsed at work. When she got to the hospital, it was touch and go. My mom's heart wasn't strong since my dad passed away, and the stress might have affected her. I cried and hugged her tightly for a while. After bringing my mom home, I called the manager to ask for my first paid leave ever. "I'm sorry for leaving early today. My mom just passed away. Can I take about a week off for the funeral and everything?" "Oh, that's why you left early when I wasn't here. It was an emergency with your mom." Her cold tone hurt, especially at such a sad time. "I won't approve any paid leave for you." I couldn't believe it. In all the 10 years I've worked here, I've never taken a single day off with pay. Wait, what? I've done a lot for this company. Shouldn't I be allowed to take time off with pay to say goodbye to my mom? "You always challenge me. You don't need to come back." When she said that, I couldn't take it anymore. "Are you sure about that?" "I'll take you up on your offer." She kept talking, but I hung up without thinking twice. The funeral went well. I didn't just sit and cry. I kept busy with tasks and sent thank you notes to everyone who helped. It helped distract me for a while. She tried calling me many times, but I didn't answer. Later, the president called me, so I went to the office. After 2 weeks, I went straight to the president's office. On the way, 2 coworkers comforted me. "Sorry, I need to see the president first." Their kindness made me feel a bit better. "It's Nancy. Can I come in?" I asked when I knocked on the door. They let me in right away. "Hey, it's been a while. Heard you've been gone for 2 weeks. That's not like you." "I'm sorry. Let me explain." I told him everything, not hiding how his daughter treated us. It must have been hard for him to hear negative things about his own daughter, but he listened to me. "I'm sorry for my daughter's behavior. To be honest, my wife and I spoiled her, and this is the result. It's okay. I think my parents might have felt the same way as parents." The president smiled kindly at me. "Nancy, you're really amazing. My daughter's behavior was my mistake. I've talked to the people who quit in the past 2 weeks. I can't apologize enough for that." This was the first time I'd seen the president look so troubled. "Since you stopped coming to the department where my daughter works, things have been a mess. The other day, the whole team even protested together." "Really? I didn't know it got that bad. So, what's your plan?" The president looked sad for a moment, but then he returned to his usual self. "I need your help." When I looked into his serious eyes, I decided to help. "Okay, I'm happy to help." And that's when actions were taken against her. "Hey, when are you coming back to work?" The frustrated manager finally contacted me. "But didn't you tell me not to come?" "Stop that. Everything's a mess here. Come to the office now." I reluctantly changed and went to work. But when I got there, nobody was around. It was weirdly quiet, like a weekend. Isn't it a weekday? This feels strange. While I was alone in the office, I heard yelling and things being thrown from my department. I cautiously went to see what was happening. "What's happening?" I asked when I saw her causing trouble. She quickly turned and grabbed me. "It's all your fault. Since you stopped coming, everyone else did too. Now I can't reach anyone. How will you fix this?" "I don't understand. Please don't blame me," I said calmly. She let go of me and pushed me away. "You're so annoying. Even my dad won't help me. What's going on? How long has it been since everyone stopped coming?" "Just half a day. I've been answering calls, which I never do, and I don't know what to do anymore." She looked tired and messy. Her hair was a mess, and her nail polish was chipped. She must have hung her jacket somewhere. There were angry phrases written on it. When I saw her, who always acted like she was in charge, looking so upset, I couldn't help but laugh. "Serves you right. What'd you say? This is your fault. What did you think would happen? Nobody follows someone who just throws their power around without real skills." As I stood my ground, she came closer, getting red in the face. "Say that again. Do you want to get kicked out of the company?" "Well, I'd like to stay if you leave." "Then you're fired. I'll take over this company. That's too bad for you." She had a strange smile and looked proud. I just said, "Okay, thanks for everything, even if it was short." She looked surprised. "You know you're fired, right?" "Yes, I do. I'll pack my things." I walked carefully to my desk, avoiding the papers on the floor, and started packing. "Wait, are you really quitting?" "Yes, why?" I tilted my head. She seemed less confident now, almost desperate. "Shouldn't you finish today's work at least?" Her confidence was gone, and she looked worried. "Did you know it's against the law to deny paid leave without a good reason?" "It's the law." She looked pale. She was clearly upset. But I kept going. "We're all human. I understand we might not get along, but that doesn't mean you can treat people badly. You're not fit to be a manager. I wonder what your parents are like." "Who do you think you are? Insulting my parents? You won't get away with this." "Well, you insulted mine too, so you're not getting off easy either." She was angry but tried to act tough. "We're nothing alike. You're terrible. You said the same about those who left. You treated them badly too." "That's right. They made me feel worthless. So I made things hard for them. It felt good when they left." I sighed and looked down the hallway. She followed my gaze and muttered, "Dad, why are you here?" The president walked in and went straight to her father. "There's been a misunderstanding." "No need to explain. I have proof of what you did." "No, they were jealous of my skills and set me up. I didn't do anything wrong." The president scolded her when she tried to explain herself. "You fool! I hoped the capable workers would help you improve. But in the past few months under your leadership, our performance dropped and we lost money. But I made you a manager, so I trusted you, right? I hope you can do better this time." "No. If I didn't promote you, you would have quit." The president's serious attitude made her nervous. "I never considered letting you take over the company. This time, I'll move you to the countryside to help you learn from the basics. Please understand. You'll be checked regularly, and the people there are reliable. Get ready." She turned pale, lying down and crying and laughing at the same time. I cheerfully said, "Too bad," to her later that day. The next day, she left the company without anyone seeing her off. The employees, happy to have a day off given by the president, returned to work happily without her. The office became peaceful again, and everyone smiled. Meanwhile, she started over in a rural town with no modern comforts. Her family's influence didn't matter there, and she was taught strictly by her coworkers every day. Over time, she started to change. She began speaking politely and accepting feedback. Surprisingly, the president got an apology call from her, which was unexpected. At first, I listened to her, but she ended up begging, "I've learned my lesson. Please ask the president to let me come back." I said no, and I stopped answering her calls and blocked her number. The president personally reached out to those who had quit because of her and asked them to come back. The company's performance improved quickly, even better than before. I got promoted to the manager's position that she left. Everyone in the department was happy when the president chose me. The job is harder than I thought, and I feel a bit overwhelmed. But with the support of my coworkers, I'm doing okay. Because of the burns I got, I received some extra money from the manager's salary, which made my life more comfortable. Recently, my boyfriend proposed to me, and I'm thrilled. We're expecting a baby next year, and we're both excited. Even though I'm only in my second trimester, we're already prepared for the baby's arrival. I didn't want to go on our family vacation because my sister always makes me babysit late at night. Every time we go out, I'm stuck looking after my 3 nephews. It got so bad that I had to move out of my parents' house. Last summer, we went to the beach for vacation. My parents paid for my hotel room, but I had to share it with my rowdy nephews because my sister and her husband wanted their own room. They said I'd have time for myself, but I ended up babysitting again. I complained to everyone about how I felt, but they reminded me that I was getting a free trip. We mostly did only one thing I wanted to do, which was visit an art gallery. I love doing this when I'm at the beach, but the kids don't like it. This year, my parents planned another beach trip for June, assuming I'd go along like last year. But I refused. I said I'd drive myself and pay for my own hotel room so I could have my own space. My parents were surprised and tried to remind me of the cost, but I told them not to worry. I have a good job and a reliable car, so I can afford it. That's when the argument started. I explained my reasons for wanting to do things differently this time. I want to enjoy this vacation as an adult and not feel like a child like last year. My parents told my sister about my plans, and she called me angrily. She said I'd ruin the vacation if I didn't help with her kids. I got upset and yelled back, telling her how she always made me babysit last year. I didn't get to do what I wanted, like going to an art gallery. I'm a grown man, and I deserve to enjoy my vacation too. Now my sister isn't talking to me, and my parents want me to ride with them to avoid conflict. I'm still saying no, but it's hard with all the pressure. Am I wrong for sticking to my decision? I know it'll be tough for my sister to handle her kids without anyone's help. Update: it's only been an hour since I posted, but my sister saw it on Reddit. She's really mad at me and upset that people in the comments aren't taking her side. She went on a big rant about how hard it is to raise triplets and how I should help because I'm young, single, and she needs a break. I didn't change my mind, so now she's calling our parents to get them involved. I'm waiting for their call. Update: I finished work, so I can tell you more about what happened. It's all done now. My sister got her parents involved. They saw my post and were shocked by all the comments. They're mad that I posted here, but I told them if they listened to me in the first place, I wouldn't have needed to. I'm tired of always having to keep the peace at my expense. They got mad at my sister instead. Long story short, the vacation is canceled. The hotel wasn't booked yet, but my parents are arguing with my sister. She's blaming me, and my nephews are upset they're not going to the beach. My sister called me at lunch and hinted that I don't have a life, so I should help. I recorded it and told our parents, and that's what they're arguing about now. Small update. I wasn't going to update again, but here's a little more. Parents said that they won't ever push babysitting of my nephews on me again and have agreed that what happened last year was unfair to me. Right now, they're very angry with my sister for telling me I should help her because she thinks I have no life. My sister is playing the victim, and my brother-in-law is basically saying nope to the whole mess and spending most of his time at work. Thank you to everyone who has commented. You made my day. Update 1. My parents said sorry, but my sister didn't. At least not at first. A week ago, I made this new account to ask if I was wrong. Turns out I wasn't. There's so much to tell that I couldn't fit into the original post, so a friend suggested I come here. When I asked if I was wrong, it caused a lot of trouble in my family. Basically, my parents and older sister got used to me helping with my young triplet nephews. I stayed home until I was 22 to save money while going to college. A scholarship helped a lot, and living at home kept me from getting too much debt because I worked part-time. I'm really grateful for that. But after college, everyone acted like I had all the time in the world and dragged me on a family vacation. During that vacation, I had to babysit my 3 6-year-old nephews. I even had to share a hotel room with them, and let me tell you, those kids didn't listen to anything I said. On the first night of the trip, I had to call their mom twice because the kids were misbehaving. But I got blamed for wanting to do other things during the vacation. It seemed like if the whole family didn't like something, it didn't happen, which was unfair because I'm part of the family and didn't get a say. I told my parents about this after my last post, and they admitted they were wrong. After that terrible vacation last year, I decided to move out before the summer ended, which surprised everyone because I didn't warn them. I got a great job right after college thanks to an internship and moved to cut my commute from 45 minutes to 15. My sister was mad because she wouldn't get free babysitting on weekends anymore, but she still tried to make me do it. Sometimes I gave in, especially if there was pizza involved, and it became a habit. But last month, my parents said we're going on another family vacation to the same place, and they wanted it to go the same way as last time. I quickly realized it was a setup. If I let my parents book the hotel rooms and rode with them, I'd end up in the same mess as last time. So I calmly said I'd drive myself and pay for my own stuff. That's when everything blew up. My parents begged me, and my sister tried to pressure me by making me doubt myself. But I didn't give in. After standing up to my sister, I posted on Am I the Jerk? Because of all the pressure. My sister found the post in less than an hour, and things got messy. At first, my family was against me. My sister called our parents, who then called me in the morning. They were on the phone with me while reading my post. They tried to say it was exaggerated, but I pointed out details that showed it was true. Then I told them to check the comments. There were too many for them to read, so I kept updating them. I told them I was tired of always having to make peace by giving in to my sister. Then I told them I had to go, and we'd talk more later. My parents were shocked to see hundreds, maybe thousands of comments in just a few hours. Later, I updated them that the numbers had doubled and were still growing, which made them even more shocked. So they had to really think about what they'd done. My sister kept trying to call me while I was at work, but my phone was silent until lunchtime, so she could only leave messages and texts. She finally got through to me during lunch. She was upset because my post made our parents mad at her. They argued, and my parents ended up canceling the whole vacation. They later admitted they were embarrassed and blamed each other. They said they were wrong to always make me babysit for free when I wasn't even living at home anymore. They tried to say they didn't charge me rent during college, but I reminded them that kids don't ask to be born, and I was trying my best to make my own way. Then I reminded my parents that my dad got the same help from his parents when he was in college. That ended the argument. When my sister called me at lunch, I told her the facts, and she didn't react well. She basically said I don't have a life and should spend my weekends helping her because she's tired and can't go out without her kids unless someone watches them. But she's a stay-at-home mom with a husband who makes good money, and they own their house. My nephews aren't really my responsibility. They just assumed they were. My sister hung up angrily, but I recorded the call and played it for my parents later. They were mad and fought with my sister. She blamed me and insisted my life should revolve around hers. I told her that was selfish. It took days, but her husband made her apologize to me. She seemed really sorry, which was unusual for her. It came out that one reason I was always asked to babysit was because my sister didn't trust strangers. It wasn't really about the money, but maybe it was. My brother-in-law thought my sister paid me for babysitting. But after I moved out, she didn't even give me gas money. She just gave me cash, enough for pizza for me and the kids, and kept the rest. She'd been shortchanging me for months. He got mad when he found out during her weak apology. She had to pay me back from her own savings, which she didn't like. Then he apologized for not standing up for me and promised to hire a babysitter from now on. It'll cost them, but my sister will get her date nights back. We had a family meeting where we all talked things out. There were apologies all around. Then my parents said we're still having the family vacation. I'm still driving myself and paying for my own hotel. If my sister tries to make me babysit again, I'll stay in a different hotel. She promised she won't do that. If I don't update after the vacation in a month, everything's fine. Update 2. My sister called me, demanding I delete my posts. She's even more upset now that she knows how many people saw them. It's not great having a family that knows about your Reddit account. Yesterday, she called me after work to ask if comments were still coming in. She said she couldn't handle reading them herself because they were all mean to her. So I told her the truth. About 10 comments still come in every day, and they mostly say the same things about her. She started crying and begged me to delete my posts. But I said no. I told her she can cry to anyone she wants, but the posts stay up because they're my way of making sure she doesn't treat me badly again. She basically thought my life should revolve around hers, didn't pay me for babysitting, and made me babysit all the time during last year's family vacation. So I didn't have any fun. It's no surprise people hate her for treating me like that. When I mentioned that the posts had spread to other websites and some articles and videos were made about it, she screamed and hung up. Then my parents called, begging me to delete the post. I said no because they didn't stand up for me. If they'd told my sister to treat me like an equal instead of a servant, none of this would have happened. I'm not her servant or babysitter. I'm her brother, and I'm grown up. Wouldn't they be tired of this if they were in my shoes? They agreed but still begged me to delete the post. I said no and told them I'll keep posting if they don't stand up for me more when my sister complains. Let her solve her own problems because enabling her caused this mess. I didn't have those kids. I have my own life, a new career, and I want to ask someone out soon. I'm moving forward, and I won't let them hold me back. They can either support me or keep enabling my sister, but I warned them that enabling her would end badly. I said I'd only stop posting if the drama stops. I kept things anonymous, and I have the right to vent my frustrations. My mom cried, my dad stayed silent, and I told them tears won't change my mind. They know what they need to do to end this, stop enabling my sister. So my sister called again to yell at me because our parents told her they're not getting involved and she needs to sort things out herself. They also told her to be nicer to me. I could practically see her eyes twitching when she heard that. I was pretty sarcastic with her, and she ended up crying when I hung up. Later, my brother-in-law called to hear my side of the story. He was upset that I'm still posting and made his wife cry. But I explained everything to him, and he said he'd talk to my sister again. I hope this drama ends now, but the family vacation is still on for late June. I've already booked my own room and asked for a day off work so we can leave on a Friday. My room isn't near my parents', sisters', Bill's, and nephew's rooms. It's not even on the same floor. When we go to the coast, if it's not a family activity, I'm going to do what I want. I'll visit art galleries, eat local food, and just enjoy myself for a change. Update 3. The family vacation is over, and some things went as expected, both good and bad. Good because my parents didn't let my sister make me babysit. Oh, she tried, but it didn't work. But it was bad because my sister tried to find out which room I was in, which got her in trouble with her husband again. First, I told the hotel not to give out any of my information to anyone except the police. They promised they wouldn't. On the day of the vacation, I left earlier than the rest of the family. They wouldn't be ready until at least 10 a.m., so I left at 9 a.m. check-in wasn't until 1 p.m., but I wanted to be early. I sent a group text and headed out to make the 3-hour drive. My parents were upset because they had planned a family brunch on the way, but I didn't know about it, so we just had fast food instead. When I got to the hotel, it was too early to check in, but I told the staff not to give out my information to my parents or sister. They said they don't do that, but I told them I know it sometimes happens, so I'm being careful. I told them not to give out my information if my mom, sister, or nephews try to ask for it. They promised only I would have access to my room. Then I went out to eat. When I came back over an hour later, I saw my parents' car and my brother-in-law's SUV. I made sure the lobby was empty before checking in. The clerk said my family asked about me and where I was staying, but they refused to tell them. My sister tried to push it, but her husband stopped her. I checked in, went to my room, and called my parents. I didn't mention what happened with the clerk, and they didn't bring it up either. Then we all met up as a family to go out and explore. At one point, my sister asked me to watch her kids for a bit. I refused because I knew what she was up to. She'd say she'd be back soon, but end up gone for ages. I called her out, and her husband told her to stop asking me to babysit. Instead, she started crying, saying she needed a break. Her husband reminded her that he's tired too, but he's not complaining. My mom gave me a mean look, so I went over and told her if she even thought I should babysit. I'd leave the vacation right then. It's not my job, and I'm tired of them treating me like it is. That made my mom cry too, and she kept saying you're right over and over. It's an old trick of hers to make me feel guilty, but I just said, I am right, and walked away. Neither my mom nor sister tried anything for the rest of the day. When we got back to the hotel after dinner, my family crowded into the elevator, but I waited for the next one. My sister gave me a mean look because she knew what I was up to. I sat in the lobby watching YouTube for 15 minutes before taking the elevator up. I was on a different floor, far away from them. I had a great night. The next morning, we all went out for breakfast, but I made sure they left first. I was the last one out, just like the night before. Breakfast was good. Then I told them I'd be doing my own thing for the day. My mom mentioned plans to go to the aquarium and some other places, so I said I'd meet them later, but the rest of the day was mine. They agreed, and the day went well. When we got back to the hotel that evening, my sister saw me leaving my room. She must have been searching the whole floor to find me. I went back to my room to rest before dinner because I was tired from walking. My sister was nearby. When I left my room for dinner, she tried to corner me and said I'd ruin the vacation for her because she had to take care of her kids alone. I disagreed because our parents were helping her a lot. I told her I'm tired of being blamed for everything and to leave me alone. I started walking, ignoring her yelling. She followed me to the elevator, but we didn't talk. I told my parents and brother-in-law that my sister had stalked me to find my room. She was scolded and she had a pity party. I told her to stop acting like a victim and grow up. The days when she could control me were gone. Then I left the lobby and went to my car. This time I got to dinner first. When everyone else arrived, my sister looked sad, but we didn't talk about what happened before, and that was okay with me. My sister didn't talk to me the whole evening, and I didn't care about riding in the elevator with them. I told them not to disturb me unless it was an emergency because I had the do not disturb sign on my door. The last day went smoothly. Neither my sister nor my mother bothered me. They had given up by then. During the vacation, I played with my nephews a bit. I'm not mean. I just didn't want to babysit. The kids didn't mind. They just wanted to play. I even bought them each a little bag of crystals and stones as a souvenir. There were some small arguments between my sister and her husband, but I ignored them. Overall, I'd say the vacation was a success because my mother and sister realized they couldn't control me anymore. Update 4. My mother and sister saw my last post. They just can't leave things alone. I warned them that if they didn't stop, I'd go back to Reddit, and here I am. The short version is that they freaked out after seeing my post. My sister had been checking my account for days because she knew I'd post something. Well, what did she expect? That I would just say everything was fine. She called me and cried, saying I made her look like a bad mother. I replied, well, if the shoe fits. My sister argued with me more, but I asked her to name anything in the post that wasn't true. She tried, but I pointed out that every detail was correct. So what did she do? She called Mom. Then my mother showed up at my door demanding I delete all the posts. I said no, and now I have more material for another post. I ended up making her leave crying. I had a serious talk with my parents on the phone later. I told them that their support of my sister's behavior caused all the problems in the family. I made it clear that I won't go back to the way things were, so they shouldn't hope for it. My parents then told my sister to stop blaming me and leave me alone. They can't handle the stress anymore. My sister felt sorry for herself, but my parents snapped her out of it. My brother-in-law has a cult. I think he's trying to stay out of the drama, but this can't be good for his marriage or our relationship. So out of respect for him, I'm sorry, but your wife went too far. My parents want my sister to get counseling because she can't handle being a mom and trying to keep up her old habits. She needs to be responsible. I hope this is my last post. If my sister keeps treating me like her personal servant and blaming me for everything, we can't be around each other. Maybe we can move past this if she's willing to change. I won't write anything else about her on Reddit. I'll only talk about my own experiences. If she treats me with respect, this will all be over. Got it? Update 5. My parents and I had a long chat and they apologized. We've decided to keep some distance until Thanksgiving. I also talked with my brother-in-law over beers last night. He's making my sister get counseling or he might leave her. They're finding a counselor for her now. He said my sister was mean to me at home, but she's a loving wife. He also said she had some issues from being an only child. She agreed to counseling and will go when they set it up. They found a babysitter for my nephews too. My brother-in-law also said he was mad at me but didn't help when he should have. We agreed it was a bad situation, so we're putting it to rest. Lastly, these posts helped me get a girlfriend. She figured out it was me and waited for me to say something. We're going on our first date tonight. Thanks to everyone here for the support. It meant a lot.